Okay, I've got some fun news to announce, and that is that my new single is coming out on Friday. If you like dirty rock and roll music with a bluesy dose of punk, you'll probably dig this song. You'll find the Spotify pre-save link in the video description. Comes out on Friday, the 3rd of May. That's this Friday. I'm very excited about it. This is kind of an unusual video for me to make because most of the videos that I've made before have been guitar tuition videos. That's what National Guitar Academy does. So most of the content that we've made has been, guitar tuition focused. But many of you will know that before I created National Guitar Academy, I was a full-time performing artist. I was the singer and guitarist in a rock band called the Mags, and that's how I spent my 20s, almost all of my 20s. That band consumed my every waking hour. I poured every part of me into that band and those songs. It was one of the most creatively fulfilling. In fact, it was the most creatively fulfilling chapter of my life. I loved it. We gigged all over the world. We met some amazing people. We partied like rock and roll animals and just generally had an absolute blast. I think of all the jobs for a young man in his 20s, being the singer in a rock band must be one of the most fun. It's got to be, hasn't it, really? The music we made during that period is the legacy of that time of our lives and the people we were at that time. But of course, all good things come to an end. And while the highs were high, damn, the lows were low. And truth be told, I was a mess really at that time in my life. I think lots of us are. And I was heartbroken for years when the band folded. And I actually felt really sort of burned out by music and the music industry in general, which I now know is very common. But looking back, I actually think now it's a good thing that the Mags never made it big then, because as young guys, we were a little bit out of control, and I don't think we would have handled fame or fortune well. I think rock and roll is a lot of fun, but it has a destructive side. There's no doubt about that. And I learned the hard way that you've got to keep the focus on the music, at all times. When the band folded, I left the UK and I went backpacking with my girlfriend, who's now my wife, in South America and Asia. And eventually, when I came back to England, I had a short and disastrous spell working in central London in the film industry for 20th Century Fox. And I quickly realized I wasn't cut out to be an employee in a blood-sucking corporation. I came to my senses and I returned to music. That's when I started teaching guitar. And that grew into a really thriving local guitar school, which ultimately went online and became National Guitar Academy, which is now one of the world's biggest online guitar schools. And I think one of the reasons why National Guitar Academy has done so well is because it was fueled by my sort of deep love of music and subsequently by my team's deep love of music as well. Like what I used to pour into the Mags, I've poured into NGA. And I think that enthusiasm and passion and love for music, I think that comes through in the things that you make, doesn't it? Things that are made with love, it's there, it's baked in, it's always going to help. But here's the thing, in all the years that have passed, I've never stopped writing my own songs. I've got a huge backlog of hundreds, maybe over 1,000 songs. And over the last year or so, I've been thinking that I've got to get these songs out, I've got to finish them, I've got to release them and start, finishing the material. Most of the songs are rubbish, but some of them are really good. So I've been learning how to use Logic and sort of slowly starting to learn more about music production. It's been a lot of fun to return to professional music production. I've been really enjoying learning about modern music production techniques. It's crazy how much things have moved on since I last, seriously recorded and tried to finish albums. So that's what's been going on. But then about 5 months ago, I got a text from Grammy award-winning engineer Matt Shane. Now, I first met Matt when the Mags recorded a live EP in New York City in 2004, 2005. Matt was a young guy working at the studio as a sound engineer. He was based at Pilot Recording Studios in Manhattan. He was a similar age to us. And we used to hang out whenever the Mags were in New York, and we became really good friends. I remember staying at Matt's place for a while when the rest of the guys in the band were just doing my head in. So we became good mates, and stayed with Matt and his girlfriend, who's now his wife. So fast forward 20 years, nearly 20 years, and Matt is now a Grammy award-winning producer and engineer. So Matt texts me and he says, "Dude, let's get the Mags material out there onto Spotify." And I've always been a bit hesitant about reopening the Pandora's box of the Mags. I deeply loved that chapter of my life, but I was sort of deeply hurt by it too. And I know it sounds silly, but I was kind of scared of reopening that world. But if a Grammy award-winning producer texts you and says, "You made some really cool music that was never released, let's finish that album together and release it," you can't ignore that, you know? So I feel like the universe kind of gave me a kick. So semi-reluctantly, or at least, you know, with trepidation, we dug out all the old Mag songs. We started listening through them. And they were really good. You know, they were messy and chaotic at times, but they were really good. So we were like, yeah, you know, there's something here, you know? So we've gone track by track. We finished every song. Some of them just needed, you know, small things doing. Other tracks needed overdubs and, you know, extra stuff added. Some just needed to be remastered. But honestly, the Mags have never sounded better. I'm really, really happy with how this sound. And it's been so much fun to reconnect with my old bandmates and Matt while we've been working on this project. You know, we're not 25 anymore. You know, we're all 45. We've got wives and kids. And it's been a real blast to rediscover and reinvent this music, and also to kind of reconnect with our younger selves, you know, and remember what that was like, you know, that feeling of invincibility and optimism that you have when you're younger. Like, oh yeah, I remember that. That felt good. So the first single from the new album comes out on Friday. It's called When I Get Home. You can hear it on Spotify and Apple Music and all the places where music is nowadays. If you're interested in following this journey with me, you'll find links to the Mags website and socials in the video description. You can sign up for the Mags mailing list, the Mags website, the Mags social media, all that stuff is there. If you're interested in this music, please click the Spotify pre-save link in the description. That gives the song a bit of a boost in Spotify and hopefully will help other people discover it. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for following this journey, and I will see you in the next one.